What's going on, all you karate enthusiasts? Logan Myerz back here for Cinephellas.com. Sorry I've been busy as of late. I've shot a bunch of videos, just haven't had time to get around to editing them. I've been watching a lot of movies, TV shows, and been playing a lot of PlayStation 5. Just finished the story of Miles Morales, had a great time with that, so I have a review of Miles Morales coming up right here on our YouTube channel in the Level Up with Cinephellas series, so stay tuned for that. But today I want to talk about one of my favorite shows that came out a few years ago on YouTube Red, and it finally made the move over to a bigger streamer that I've been hoping for some time. It made its way to Netflix. I'm talking about Cobra Kai Season 3 that just debuted on January 1st. And what a way to kick off the year. It's been a really crazy and weird week here in the US, but thankfully we have entertainment such as TV shows and Cobra Kai to get through all the madness and craziness in the world, and Cobra Kai really kicks it off with a bang. So if you guys remember last season, it ended with a bang. A lot of bad things happening, basically a huge fight between Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai, duking it out at the school. Miguel gets kicked over the side and lands on his back, and basically looks like he's gonna die or be in a coma, and Robbie takes off because he's the one that ends up kicking him over. Sam gets pretty messed up by Tori, and just a huge, awesome fight at the very end. The way they shot it was really well done, and left us with a lot of questions. And then at the end, also with Johnny really saying "fuck you" to Cobra Kai, and the message to Allie Mills, that's played by Elizabeth Shue, and wondering if she would show up in Season 3. Season 3 starts off with the aftermath of what happened last season. Johnny's in a really dark place, a bad place, doing the same old Johnny stuff he always does, and drinking that shitty Coors banquet beer.
It's no downstream beer.
It's no city beer.
It's Coors.
It's the high country. Climb up to Coors.
As he does throughout the season, and other characters are really dealing with everything that happened. Robbie's on the go. Nobody knows where he is. Miguel's in the hospital. He's in a coma. They don't know if he's going to walk again. They don't know if he's paralyzed. And the rest of the kids are really dealing with all this. Samantha, which is Daniel's daughter, has PTSD from the fight that happened and her incident with Tori. Tori's a pretty badass character. She's really dealing with a lot of stuff in this season. You really feel for her. She's going through a lot of stuff mentally and trying to get over what happened to her and be a better fighter, be a good person, and be with her friends. But she's really struggling with that the first half of the season. We also see Daniel LaRusso, played by Ralph Macchio. He's much better this season in many ways. I think his arc is much better, and I think his fighting scenes in this season, there's a lot of those, and a lot of callbacks to Karate Kid too, and his fight scenes are definitely more relaxed. He doesn't look as stiff as he did in the first two seasons. He looks like he was really struggling, but he is 59 years old, and I kind of liked him better this season too. The first two didn't really care for him that much. He was more like the villain compared to Johnny, which is like the good guy as they're portraying him. So this season is more focused, I think, on Daniel, and we see him return to Okinawa, Japan from Part 2, Karate Kid 2, and seeing some familiar faces from that movie as well, as he's on this journey of trying to find himself again. And his business is kind of struggling with everything happening with the fight. He's losing a lot of business at the car dealership, and his main provider, where he gets a lot of these foreign cars, is in Japan, which sets him up going on this journey. Meet up with some old friends and some old enemies. I really like how they go back to Japan. It's really beautiful, really scenic. It reminds me much of Part 2. Obviously, they do show scenes from that movie. Just a beautiful place I'd like to visit one day. It would be a really sublime and relaxing environment to work on karate. And one of the characters he comes across is really fantastic and teaches Daniel a few things that Daniel will end up using towards the end of the season. So that being said, the ultimate bad guy is back. We have Kreese, played by Martin Kove, one of the most badass villains of all time. Just looking at this guy, even at an older age, he looks like a dude I would not mess with. I know he's not like that in real life. He's a lovable guy. And this season we get more of Kreese's backstory, him being in Vietnam and starting off as a young teenager. He's kind of a wimp and working at a restaurant. He enlists in the army, goes to Vietnam and learning how to fight with his sergeant, and a really cool scene at the end having to do with a bunch of snakes. But we do see more of his character, really trying to build more of his arc this season too, which I really appreciate it because we don't know much about Kreese. So we get more of a feel of who Kreese really is and what he's been through. And you kind of feel bad for him as well because he went through a lot of shit at a young age, and that's why he's such a dick. One of the many reasons he's such a dick and asshole and a guy you can't trust. But I did like all the scenes with him going back, being a younger man and being in Vietnam. With that being said, we get to see where Miguel's at. He's in the hospital, paralyzed, he can't walk, and Johnny's still struggling with a lot of stuff from last season. He feels, guilty for what happened to Miguel between the two dojos, which it really had to do with Daniel and Johnny, as it has since the beginning. Their rivalry and them not getting along, it just keeps going and going. Miguel being in the hospital, Johnny's there by his side and really trying to help him walk again and doing all these weird things, like trying to get him to walk, like bringing up like an 80s porno mag and just a bunch of random stuff, but it really helps Miguel. It gives him that confidence to get up and start walking again. And I don't want to spoil too much about that, but you can probably guess what happens to Miguel. So that being said, Cobra Kai wreaking havoc on the valley. So Johnny's trying to think what he can do, so he ends up starting his own dojo, which is really hilarious. It's called Eagle Fang. I wanted to call it Wolf Fang, but it's Eagle Fang is the new dojo, and bringing Miguel on and some other characters and creating his own dojo. And then you have Cobra Kai, and then you have Miyagi-Do. 3 dojos going on in the valley, so I don't want to say too much about that. Johnny and Daniel always had this ongoing battle, but when you bring Kreese and these bad kids in Cobra Kai into the picture, you could see where Daniel and Johnny could kind of come together and take these people down. And they're really bad news bears in this TV show. I mean, can't say enough about Cobra Kai, just Hawk especially. He's a little badass. And the way his character turned out is something I didn't predict. I thought he was going to be Cobra Kai for life, but it doesn't really turn out that way. And Tori's really badass in the show, really badass female. She can fight. She's towering. Her and Sam eventually get to, duke it out one more time. I was really excited for that with everything that Sam's going through this season. Tori's one of the better Cobra Kai members. She's really intimidating and scary. So with everything going on, all these fights happening in the valley, 3 dojos, people are not happy, parents are not happy. You go into the school, go into the town, they want to cancel karate, no more karate, so it really leads to that, which means the canceling of the All Valley tournament, going back to the first movie, the big tournament of the Valley, of all the different dojos competing. So, obviously Cobra Kai, Eagle Fang, and then Miyagi aren't too happy about that because they want to battle one another and, take out all their frustration and anger to each other and see who the real champion is. But the All Valley Conference gets canceled. So it brings in all these different dojos where they have to go to the town hall meeting and say, we need this competition. It saved our lives. It's helped a lot of kids in the area. And I think episodes 9 and 10 are my favorite of this season. The first half is really great. In the middle, I think episodes 7 and 8 was a little too dramatic for me. It felt like a teenage drama or a really bad sitcom. So the acting was not great, but really picks up at episode 9 and 10 and where they're going in the next season, in season 4, and what characters are going to show up in the next season. So I thought the last 2 episodes, episode 9 bringing back one of my favorite actresses growing up, one of my favorite characters from the first movie returning, and then episode 10, which is a badass fight scene at a house between the dojos. And again, it was all one take, no cuts, how the camera is like going around, seeing all the kids fighting one another. They're like slamming their faces into the glass, breaking tables. It's a house, so it's basically fucking destroyed, but they're just beating the shit out of each other. And you could tell they're actually fighting, stunt doubles that I could see. It looked like Hawk was really fighting, and Sam and everybody. So it was really well done. It really had me on the edge of my seat. Didn't know what was going to happen to these characters and who was going to come out the champion and what's going to happen in the following season. And season 3 definitely went out with a bang. You could see what's going to happen to these dojos and where it leads next season, having to do with this tournament, and then also bringing back another bad guy. I don't want to say too much about that, but that was something I did predict, that we would see this character. And he's definitely coming back next season, so I can't wait for that. And I'm hoping they bring back more characters and more callbacks to the original Karate Kid franchise. So that being said, I had an absolute blast with Cobra Kai. Season 3 came out January 1st on Netflix. It really kicked off the year with a bang. Well-written characters. I love the arcs this season. I loved Daniel LaRusso's arc, him returning back to Japan, really trying to find himself and save his business and save his family and his dojo. And, Johnny kind of took the back seat this season compared to Daniel. I don't think his arc was as strong, or he didn't have as much on-screen time as Daniel did, but I really love William Zabka. He's the best part of the show, in my opinion, and hopefully they'll iron out more of his character next season, not the same old drinking and depressed Johnny. I want to see more coming out of this guy. And I want Johnny to be very successful and continue to bring his dojo to the next level. But in terms of acting, directing, writing, camera work, cinematography, editing, the overall production value is much better this season. They really ironed out more characters. They brought in more backstories. And all around, just a great kick-ass and cheesy show, and really a good way to start off the year 2021 after that disastrous 2020. So if you guys have not seen Cobra Kai or seen the new season, I highly recommend it. It's definitely worth the binge. The episodes are about 30-40 minutes long, so you can knock out 10 episodes pretty much one day. I'm giving Cobra Kai Season 3 a 4.5 out of 5 Johnny Lawrence hair pieces. So I want to hear what you guys think of Season 3 of Cobra Kai. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What do you think is going to happen next season? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out, those rascals from Eagle Fang. Until the next TV review. Cheers!